Detective Thaddeus Creel had solved 43 missing persons cases in his 12-year career. The 44th would destroy him. It started when Captain Ashima Voss called him into her office with that look, the one that meant the case was already cold. A woman named Margot Thibault had vanished 3 weeks prior. No witnesses, no signs of struggle. She'd simply stopped existing. "There's something else," Voss said, sliding a file across her desk. Before she disappeared, Thibault filed a complaint. "About you." Thaddeus felt his stomach drop. "About me?" "Harassment. She claimed you'd been following her, watching her apartment." Voss studied his face. "Of course. You were in Colorado when she filed it. Your alibi is airtight, probably just a disturbed woman who fixated on you." But Thaddeus didn't remember Margot Thibault. He spent 2 days following the trail. Margot's co-workers described her as paranoid. Her sister said Margot had been terrified in the weeks before she vanished. Said a detective was stalking her. She'd even taken a blurry photo, a man in a dark coat outside her building. She said she recognized him from a case, the sister explained. "A robbery 2 years ago." She said the detective assigned to it was the same man stalking her. "What was the detective's name?" "You." She said it was you, but Thaddeus had never worked her case. Detective Gideon LaRue had handled it. That night, Thaddeus did something he couldn't explain. He searched the database for other complaints filed against him. There were 7 complaints spanning 4 years, all claiming Detective Thaddeus Creel had been stalking them, following them, watching from the shadows. The complaints had been dismissed. Thaddeus had alibis. But every single person who'd filed a complaint was now missing. Isolde Venn, Cassius Wren, Ondine Falque, Percival Drax, Lysander Cho, Verity Cole, all missing, all unsolved. Thaddeus spread the reports across his table that night. Someone was wearing his face, his identity. Over 3 days, Thaddeus worked the case in secret. He reviewed every missing person's file, different ages, backgrounds, neighborhoods. No obvious connection, except one. They'd all witnessed something. Isolde had been on a jury. Cassius had reported a hit and run. Ondine had witnessed domestic violence. Percival had seen an armed robbery. Lysander had testified in fraud. Verity had seen a body dumped. Margot had identified her attacker to a sketch artist. They were all witnesses, all willing to testify, all willing to put criminals away. And then Detective Thaddeus Creel had started following them, intimidating them, making them paranoid. And when they'd reported it, the system had dismissed their claims. By the time they disappeared, nobody believed them anymore. Someone was using him to silence witnesses, using his identity to terrorize people into vulnerability, then making them vanish. On the 4th night, Thaddeus waited outside Margot's building. At 11:47 p.m., he saw him, a figure in a dark coat. Same height, same build, same posture. Thaddeus had seen in 1,000 reflections. Thaddeus followed on foot. The figure led him 6 blocks before ducking into an all-night diner. Under the bright lights, Thaddeus could finally see him clearly. The man looked exactly like him. Same face, same hair, same scar on his cheekbone from a childhood fall. Thaddeus called Gideon LaRue. "I need to ask you about Margot Thibault's robbery case." "Why are you calling me at midnight, Creel?" "Because Margot filed a complaint about me stalking her, and now she's missing. And I think someone is using my face to stalk witnesses." LaRue was quiet. Thibault did say something strange. Said she saw the robber again after the incident. Said his face was different, but also the same. "I wrote it off as trauma. I'm looking at him right now. He's sitting in a diner, and he looks exactly like me. Jesus, call it in. You need backup." "I will. The figure stood up, turned, looked directly at Thaddeus through the window, and smiled. It was Thaddeus's own smile, but empty. the smile of something wearing a human face like a costume. The figure walked toward the back exit. Thaddeus ran, burst through the diner, crashed through the kitchen, exploded into the alley. And a fant, empty, nothing but darkness. The figure had vanished. Thaddeus's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Stop looking, detective. You won't like what you find." Thaddeus typed back, "Who are you?" "I'm you. I've always been you. The you that does what needs to be done. Ask yourself, Thaddeus, how many cases have you solved because witnesses disappeared? You've been closing cases your whole career. Cases I cleaned up for you." Thaddeus felt reality tilting. "I never asked for this. You didn't have to. I exist because of you, because of what you needed. A way to make the messy parts disappear. I'm your success, Thaddeus. Every award, every closed case. That was me. That was us. Where are they? Where are the missing people? Gone. They saw too much. We're going to complicate things. I protected you. Protected the work. Protected the work. You murdered them. I removed obstacles." Thaddeus called Voss, told her everything, the complaints, the pattern, the doppelganger, the texts. She told him to come in immediately, to wait for backup. But Thaddeus couldn't wait. The figure had been outside Margot's building, watching, which meant there was another witness, another target. Margot's neighbor, Saffron Quillen, had mentioned seeing a man in the hallway the night Margot disappeared. Thaddeus drove to Saffron's address, heart hammering. The building was dark, except for one window. Saffron's apartment. He ran inside, taking stairs 3 at a time. Her door was slightly ajar. "Saffron?" He pushed it open, hand on his weapon. She was sitting on her couch, very still, staring straight ahead, not moving, not blinking. And then Thaddeus saw him, standing in the shadowed corner. The figure, the other Thaddeus. "You couldn't leave it alone," the figure said in Thaddeus's voice. "I tried to warn you. Let her go. There is no us, Thaddeus. There's only me. You're just the face I wear when I need to be seen, but you're getting inconvenient. Maybe it's time for Detective Thaddeus Creel to become another tragic case." The figure moved forward, holding a syringe. "The same thing I gave all the others. They just stop, like turning off a light." Saffron made a small whimper. She was paralyzed but aware. "Why?" Thaddeus demanded. "Why do this?" "Because the system is broken. Witnesses talk, guilty people walk free, and good detectives like you lose sleep over it. I fixed that. I made you successful. You made me a murderer. No, I made you a legend. 43 solved cases. You're the best detective in the state. Because I cleaned up your messes. Silenced your complications." Thaddeus raised his weapon. "Step away from her. You won't shoot, because if you kill me, you'll never understand how deep this goes. How many of us there are." The words froze Thaddeus's blood. "How many? Did you really think you were special?" "We're everywhere, Thaddeus. In every precinct. Behind every closed case. We're the reason justice happens at all." Behind him, footsteps. The figure smiled. "Too late." And moved toward Saffron with inhuman speed. Thaddeus fired. The figure staggered and fell. Blood spread across his shirt. Thaddeus's shirt. His face, Thaddeus's face twisted in surprise. Voss and 3 uniforms burst through the door, then froze when they saw Thaddeus standing over a body that looked exactly like Thaddeus. The figure coughed, blood on his lips. "Shut up," Thaddeus said. "You felt it. Every time a witness disappeared, every time a case closed neatly, you felt the relief. You wanted this. I'm just what you made me." The doubt crept in. Had some part of him known? Had he been complicit by not asking the right questions? The figure smiled one last time. Check the basement. Storage Unit 3B. That's where they are. All of them. Then his eyes went empty, and Detective Thaddeus Creel watched himself die. They found the bodies 3 hours later. 8 victims, exactly as the figure had said. All perfectly preserved. All witnesses who disappeared after filing reports about Detective Thaddeus Creel. Thaddeus was never officially charged. The investigation concluded that an unknown individual had been impersonating him for years. The case remained open, unsolved, but Thaddeus knew the truth. He'd been successful because something had been doing his dirty work. Something that wore his face and killed in his name. Something he'd maybe, in the darkest part of himself, allowed to exist. He resigned 6 months later, moved to a small town where nobody knew his name. But some nights, when the shadows are deep, Thaddeus Creel stands at his window and watches the street below. And sometimes he sees a figure standing under the streetlight. Same height, same build, same dark coat, watching, waiting, smiling, because the figure had said it himself, "We're everywhere." And Thaddeus believes him.